Hello and welcome to the second part of Sports Talk right here on Tameside Radio. I'm Mark Phillip, Head of Sport at Quest Media Network, and as usual there'll be plenty of interviews surrounding the biggest talking points over the past 7 days. But we'll start this week's show with Betfred's Alan Firkins, who provided the latest odds ahead of this weekend's Premier League fixtures, which could potentially see Cristiano Ronaldo make his comeback for Manchester United, and if the Portuguese striker does feature for the Red Devils, Betfred have him priced at 8-1 to score a hat-trick. Here are the rest of the markets, courtesy of Betfred's Alan Firkins. Alan, there's two fantastic Premier League fixtures coming up this weekend. Firstly, let's take a look at Manchester United because they're hosting Newcastle United at Old Trafford, but it marks the return of Cristiano Ronaldo. Really exciting for the fans.
Yeah, it's fantastic, Mark. This is dream world, isn't it, for football fans everywhere, and especially those of a United and Red persuasion. 36 years of age, Cristiano Ronaldo, what can you say? In the first incarnation at Old Trafford, 03-09, he scored 84 goals in 196 appearances, and since then he's just gone stratospheric. 311 goals in 292 for Real Madrid. 81 in 98 for Juve. This is one of the greatest players we've ever seen in 150 years of top flight association football. He's one of the very, very best. And there's a raft of specials accompanying this second coming on Saturday. 8-1 to score a hat-trick, 7-1 to score a header, 9-1 to score from outside the box. And if you think it all might get a bit much for the great man, he's 6-1 to be booked and 2-1 to get the game's first goal. United are very skinny, as you'd imagine, to actually win the match. 2-9, 13-2 the draw. And if you fancy Newcastle to rain on the parade, they're a massive 14-1.
Cristiano Ronaldo couldn't have asked for a better fixture, really. Newcastle, perennial strugglers, should I say, in the Premier League, at Old Trafford in front of 70 to 80,000. This one, I could see him scoring a hat-trick. What do you think personally?
I think there's a fantastic chance that he'll have a big match. There's been an awful lot of speculation in recent days, Mark. I'm sure you guys have chatted about it on the radio, about whether he'll start, whether he'll come off the bench. I'm just hoping he'll start. He doesn't need the massive ovation from the bench stuff, some stage-managed affair. He needs to start. He's been featuring for Portugal and very successfully. He's a magnificent guy in prime order, looks after himself amazingly. I just hope he starts. And really, he's got to be scoring or featuring in this game. The very best write their own headlines, and this guy is one of the very, very best.
Absolutely, really excited for this one. But in the Midlands tomorrow, it's Leicester City hosting Manchester City. These two always go to battle, don't they? I mean, Leicester City have got a few former City players in Kelechi Iheanacho. So, this one's got all the ingredients to be a cracker.
Absolutely, and Leicester have been City's bogey team a little bit in recent years. Another 3 o'clock kick-off. Don't often get the Manchester Giants playing at 3 o'clock together, as it were. Leicester and City. The odds of reward, the way that the Betfred traders see this, Leicester are 5-1, 100-30 the draw, and 3-5 about a City win. It's interesting, Jamie Vardy's 15-2 for the first goal. That won't please citizens, etc., thinking about the guy nicking the game's first goal, but he has a fantastic record against City, scores against City for fun, so that might be worth a couple of bob. And an old fox, Riyad Mahrez, he's 11-2 for the game's first goal, and he's been in pretty prime nick for the last 18 months or so, really justifying that fee. Just looking at some of the prices for the league and the Champions League, Mark. Premiership, City are 6-5, Chelsea 11-4, Liverpool and United are both 5-1, and it's a massive 28-1 bar. And of course, the Champions League returns next week. And we have City, who feature on Wednesday against Leipzig. They're 4-1 to win the Champions League. United start at Young Boys, I think, on Tuesday. 10-1 for the Reds. 9-1 about Liverpool. Chelsea 15-2. There's the 4 UK sides. But yeah, just a brilliant weekend of football. And all eyes on Old Trafford. Absolutely no question the the biggest ticket, the hottest ticket in town.
Absolutely. So there we have it. We've got two fantastic Premier League fixtures coming up on Saturday, both at 3 p.m. It's Manchester United hosting Newcastle United. That marks a homecoming of Cristiano Ronaldo. And at the same time, at the King Power Stadium, it's Leicester City hosting Manchester City. Well, our thanks as usual go to Betfred's Alan Firkins for providing the latest odds ahead of this weekend's fixtures. So in sport-related news, Russell Scott Primary School in Denton, which has won numerous sporting accolades, including an award at the Pride of Tameside Sports Awards, could potentially be demolished and rebuilt due to ongoing structural problems. The school was rebuilt by Catherall in 2015 but has since encountered numerous problems, with roofs collapsing, sewage arising from the floor and floods occurring 6 times. Denton MP Andrew Gwynn has raised the issue of a matter of concern in the House of Commons this week, and head teacher Steve Marsland has been left frustrated by the ongoing issues and has questioned the lack of accountability from those in charge. Steve feels the children's sporting opportunities have been limited due to having no field to train or play on, and this is what he told me about the situation earlier this week.
Well, it's been going on since 2015 when we came back first day to a newly refurbished school by Catherall, and it went on from there. You know, from evacuating for floods, from sewage coming up through the floors, through explosive levels of gas, having to get the children and staff out of the building, to the roof leaking. You know, to 6 floods and all the children being off. You know, COVID's bad enough, and then you have this on top of that. You know, and having to manage all these things to make sure that the children aren't affected. But it's got to affect you over time. It certainly affected me. You know, all our time and effort has been spent trying to keep all these balls in the air and juggling all the difficulties that we've had to endure. You know, but it's a few years now since Carillian's demise and since they went down. So we are where we are now, and we've just got to get on with it. And Andrew, with his question in the House of Commons, brought the plight of the school into the public arena now, so people know what's been going on over time, and we're just hopeful now that the council and the government are going to sort it out.
What was the biggest frustration for yourself is that there's been no accountability from Carillion or the council. You just want someone to lead from this point, don't you, and take charge of stuff?
Well, we've got our MP, our leader of the council, the chief exec. They're all on the case now. We're not the only school either, neither in Tameside or across the country. You've seen the debacle over in Liverpool with the hospital there. You know, it's £1 billion worth. And you've got all these executives from Carillion never been brought to account. You know, they went in front of a public accounts committee, all cried crocodile tears.
Used to be a field I used to come here when I was at primary school. We did loads of school competitions on there, and the kids are missing out in that regard as well.
Well, they are. You know, we were the school of the year not that long ago in terms of Greater Manchester sports. You know, so imagine what we'd have done with a playing field. No, it's not fair. Our children are walking every day past what looks like the Somme in the winter. You know, it's full of great big holes. You know, the council have had to pay £200,000 to remove what was contaminated waste from other building sites that Carillion were developing across Greater Manchester. They were dumping waste material on our pitch, covered it with topsoil, and said that was that. Thanks, and off they went. And then the next thing is they've gone.
So what are you hoping will be achieved? I mean, what's the solution?
Well, the solution has been formed by numerous reports now by architects, surveyors, structural engineers, and it comes to a balancing act between repair and maintenance to rebuild, and actually, you know, making that decision for the future, because children have been disrupted enough. You know, this community has been pushed out to 2 trees over the build time. We had to ship 500 children virtually up to the old secondary school, 2 trees, whilst they did our school. You know, so that was a massive disruption. And ever since, you know, for the past 6 years, because we're in the 6th year that this building has been in this state. So it's got to be done. It's got to be done. rapidly and urgently.
So that was Russell Scott Primary School head teacher Steve Marsden venting his frustration at the building issues that have plagued his school since being rebuilt by Carillion in 2015. Well, moving into rugby union news now, and our sides opened their league campaigns last weekend. In the ADM Premier Division, Old Winions beat Wigan 40-18, whilst Oldham also picked up a narrow victory in a nail-biting 15-14 win over Fleetwood. In the ADM Division 1, Duckingfield beat Clitheroe 29-8, whilst in the North West 1, Glossop drew 27-all at Altrincham Kersal. In Rugby League news, Oldham Ruffians were relegated last weekend following defeat at Widnes. They'll be competing in the Betfred Championship next season, but they'll be playing without captain Gareth Owen, who has opted to retire from the game. In boxing-related news, the Factory Outlet Sofa Superstore, located on Crown Point North in Denton, celebrated its first birthday on Saturday. The store treated customers to free champagne, a live DJ and even a magician. The event was supported by local boxer Campbell Hatton, son of local legend Ricky, and his coach Matthew Hatton. Danny Hornsby, who helps to run the store and also takes charge of the Little Rockies boxing sessions around Tameside primary schools, was delighted with the way things went and now has his eyes firmly focused on a charity boxing match in October. I spoke to him about the event and his Little Rockies boxing sessions.
So I got an opportunity to have a boxing bout. I had 6 bouts while I was younger, in my younger days, and I've always wanted I should have had more. I really wanted to have more, and last year I got really into my boxing. In lockdown, I was training extremely hard, and I raised some money for a guy called Mr Maganga from a school in Ashton. So we managed to get £7,000 together for Mr Maganga to raise some money to help him for his funeral costs, etc. So I was going to raise some money for him last year to help his kids at Christmas, because Christmas is a hard time. He was the breadwinner. Unfortunately, last year the shows just didn't happen. We couldn't do any boxing. So this year it was always in the back of my mind to fight again at some point. Obviously with restrictions regarding gyms and everything, we've had to wait, and my goal was to box at the end of the year in December, and then I got offered an opportunity to fight in Manchester Arena on the 2nd of October. So like everyone, I was in the pub a lot. If you know me, I like to party, and I'm not one to shy away from having a good drink, as they say. And the opportunity arose, and I thought, this is it. I'll knuckle down, I'll get out of the pub and stay focused. And it's at the Manchester Arena. How could I say no to that? Boxing's great. It's great for me. It keeps me disciplined. I'm staying in at the minute. It works for me. And the children in schools, I mean, the Little Rockies programme's brilliant. We're in all the schools again. We're full again. We start again on Monday. I'm like, here we go again. Which is great, because the schools love Little Rockies, and I'm hoping that continues. Something's going to have to give soon, because I'm extremely busy. I'm trying to juggle and run everything, and 7 days a week, 7 in the morning till 9 at night. As you can hear it in my voice, he's catching up with me a bit now. So, but Little Rockies is brilliant, and just want to thank all the schools for keep backing me and, you know, sending them emails and getting me in, and I'm willing to help, and I love helping.
Well, that was Danny Hornsby looking ahead to his charity boxing match at the Manchester Arena in October. Well, we're moving to some football news now, as our local sides have been in action over the last 7 days. Last weekend, in the National League North, Curzon Ashton made it back-to-back victories with a 3-0 win at Leamington. The Nash are 4th in the table ahead of this weekend's trip to Gloucester City. Following the win last weekend, manager Steve Cunningham spoke to Curzon's media team and feels he has a group of players that want to play for the club.
I think that kind of performance just echoes what we've been talking about, obviously internally as well, about the group of players that we've assembled now. It's a group of players that want to play for this football club. You saw that it wasn't a fantastic performance in terms of a style of football, because as a spectator it was very hot and humid. The pitch was awful, sticky for both teams, and it was quite a long ball game from both teams, and we'd have got beat badly like we did last year. And I think when you look at the 2 results we've just put wrong from last year, Darlington, we got beat 3-0, physically, you know, dominated. Leamington came to our place last year, absolutely bullied us, and we were probably the better team for patches of that game, but we got bullied and we got battered, and rightly so. And I said I wanted to come here because these are the kind of places that, off the back of a couple of good performances like we've just talked about, you've got to come to a Leamington and get a result. And I don't care how ugly it is, it's 3 points, and not many teams will come here and win 3-0. And I think a large part of that as well goes to Chris Renshaw. I think he was outstanding. I'm not saying that I felt like they should have won the game. I don't think 3-0 flattered us, you know, but at the same point, Chris Renshaw's made some unbelievable saves and kept us in the game at the right time. and that gives the players a bit of a lift as well. So when they're all fighting for each other like they've done there, 3-0 sounds great. It's the clean sheet. To get that away from home in any game in this league is a real achievement, and just immensely proud of them today.
When you talk about that team spirit, and I think, it's not unknown that we've got limited resources at Curzon, but the togetherness that you see, is that the difference from last season, maybe previous season?
Huge difference. I always talked about you've got to create something in a football club that wins your points. It's not always about having the best talented players. You'll see some of the results today up and down the league. There's teams with far better resources, with better players, better CV players, but we've got a togetherness at the minute that you saw that kind of performance. It was outstanding, but it's right throughout the club at the minute. That it's not just in the dressing room. Everyone's on the same page. Everyone works really hard. I'm not your typical manager, I am one of the boys, and they've accepted the way I am. It's difficult for some people to see it sometimes because it's not always the most professional or the right way, but I'm getting something out of these boys that other people wouldn't, and we're like a bunch of best mates. And I think when you've got that so early on, you can get results, and you're doing it together as a group of mates, and that's what it feels like at the moment. You heard the dressing room, it was absolutely rocking. Again, we're not going to start saying, we're going to do things and win things, but we've got to enjoy every win that we take in this league, because it's a tough league, and we just keep it going now and see, based on going back to your first point, if we can come here and get a result, it just shows that those little purple patches, if we can get that bit of consistency, we just put a bit of breathing space between us and a few of the teams at the minute, so we're not looking over our shoulder at that black line and going, where's our next win coming? And it's just a good time to be at the football club at the moment, and when the players are doing that kind of performance, the supporters don't mind travelling all this way, and fair credit to them.
The Magnificent Nine, I think they were calling themselves today.
Were they? Yeah. So and there's a guy there who's got a train. There's a bloke who's come all the way with his son in his car, and as a manager and a group of players, when we've not got the dominant support base that a lot of these clubs have, even 9 people, they'll still out-sing most of them. There's a few gobby people in there. That's where I get it from. But it's just, it's fantastic they've made the effort. And again, I say it all the time, we can't thank them enough. But it's a great place to be at the moment.
Just a final question. We spoke to Jordan very, very briefly at the end of the game. Is it that type of team spirit that has brought a player like Jordan Lucy to the club as well?
100%. Jordan wanted to come to our football club weeks ago. I tried to get him in the summer. But he's a lad that's got ambitions to still play full-time football, and so he showed his play at the highest level as you possibly can, as long as you can. And unfortunately, we moved on. And then when we brought in some of the quality like a Luke Daly, a Jack Dunn and Alex Curran, and we've got Dale Whittam and Marnie, we've got some real good quality players in there. And he were ringing and saying, listen, what's going on? Do you want me? And I said, look, we can't do what we originally talked about. And then in the end, he said, listen, I want to come. I love what you're doing, and I want to play for your football club. Now, when you see he came on for 15 minutes, 20 minutes at the end, I've got to give a lot of respect to Paul's team here, because what a lovely guy. He's one of the best managers I think I've ever come across in football. And his team were the better team in that second half. And they'll feel a little bit hard done by on the score because of the attempts that they've had on goal. But when Jordan went on, it just changed it straight away for us. And having that quality in Jordan Lucy just sitting as a 6, you can see his experience and his quality. And then just to see him in the dressing room, it's like he's been with us all, since pre-season. So, yeah, it's a great acquisition for the football club. And as I said, we're working on 17 players at the minute, and they've all got something to bring to the table.
Well, that was Curzon Ashton manager Steve Cunningham thrilled about his side's win at Leamington last weekend. Elsewhere, some of our local sides were in FA Cup action last Saturday. However, it wasn't a great afternoon for most of them, with Stalybridge Celtic losing 2-0 to Colne, Ashton United falling to a 1-0 defeat to Hebburn Town, Hyde United losing 6-1 at Morpeth Town, that game marking new manager Jim Gannon's first game in charge of the club. However, Mosley have progressed to the next round after beating Newton Aycliffe 1-0, the only goal of the game coming from Jordan Butterworth in the 24th minute. The Lily-Whites have been rewarded with a tie in the next round against Radcliffe Borough at home. Curzon Ashton will also enter the competition at this stage, and they've been drawn at home to Stockton Town. Well, as I mentioned a moment ago, Jim Gannon's first game in charge of Hyde did end badly, and the former Stockport boss told Luke Edwards that things need to change rapidly.
I can take some responsibility, perhaps the change of manager, and maybe not sure about maybe what I'm looking for, maybe to make the lads hesitate a bit, but take some responsibility for the first goal because they're trying to play out from the back, and at the moment I don't think we look confident or equipped enough to do that. But there was a lot wrong today. There was a lack of energy. There was a lack of purpose about some stuff that we did. We had opportunities, but we never hit a target. We had opportunities to get behind and cross, we didn't. We never really asked a lot of questions. And then when he asked anything of us, we were found. So a lot of work. And what I have to do as a manager is narrow it down to, if you like, Brito's principle, 20% that will have the 8% effect, because you're working with players for 2 hours a week, maybe 1 hour coaching a week, and I've got to work really hard and smart over the next couple of weeks to see a change. We need to get fitter, we need to get better organised, we need to be better in both boxes, and there's a lot of work to be done, and it starts now.
Is it a confidence issue, do you think, some of it, especially defensively, or is it just mistakes and players not learning from the mistakes?
Well, I've asked them in there to give me a list of all the things that were wrong, and they identify certain things, but they don't really identify. Not one of them wrote down stopping and defending crosses, where we conceded 5 goals. So if they don't recognise what's wrong with the team themselves, then they can never really change it. And I think that, out there there's there's a couple of vocal players and a couple of players who've got the knowledge, but I don't think that they organise, coach themselves, demand enough from each other. I never hear constant shouts to stop the cross, send them back, squeeze. I don't hear that. I don't know whether that's because they're a quiet group or they lost energy and lost confidence. I gave them a little bit second half, we come out, we scored a goal, but then 3 crosses, 3 goals, and we look very, very vulnerable at the moment. And I think if there's some issues to do with the transition, fine, but we need to stop making excuses now and work really hard, understand our roles, and start playing, making sure that we're more effective on the pitch than we are. Because it's not about being pretty, it's not about being good footballers, it's about making sure you don't concede goals and you know how to hurt the opposition.
Well, that was Hyde boss Jim Gannon reflecting on his side's exit from the FA Cup last weekend. But he'll have been delighted with his side's response on Tuesday night as the Tigers beat Nantwich Town 2-0 thanks to goals from Tom Pratt and Jonah Mitchell. Well, elsewhere on Tuesday night, Ashton United returned to league action and claimed a valuable point in a 1-1 draw at South Shields. The Robins are still without a win in 5 league fixtures, however. This is what manager Michael Clegg told Ashton's media team following the draw on Tuesday.
It was tough. They're such a good side, and I've said it before. You can't help but enjoy watching them play. But at the same time, we were good tonight. Our shape were good. The desire to go and win first and second balls, to just want to defend, which you're going to have to do when you come here. And I thought we frustrated them, and we held them to very little chances. Really, our keeper's not had that much work to do at all.
Only FC United have made South Shields drop points this season. Up here at this First Cloud Arena, what's that say about your Robin side?
We're a good side, and the problem that we've had, it's been, well, everybody knows it's just been such a frustrating few weeks for us. But you look at that team tonight, and it's a team full of people wanting to be here. It's a full of team of people working, and our problem is we've had a lot of people missing. We've had change formation, we've had change personnel, and it's not helped. It's been a bit of a car crash, but through no fault of ours or how hard anyone's working. It's just bringing lads in, taking them out, injuries. And it has been a tough 2 week. I mean, don't get any easier now as you focus to Saturday, and it's points we need, like the 1-1 draw tonight, the 1-1 draw at Scarborough. It is 2 good points if you start backing it up with wins at home, so that's the plan for Saturday.
You mentioned there a goal. We took the lead in the 6th minute through Liam Thompson. Me and you spoke after the Whitby game saying how good it was for Teddy to score. Now 2 in 2 weeks, he's now starting to find his groove again.
Yeah, well, he's in his own position today, the role what you've seen him in for many years, and what Teddy doesn't get enough credit for is because of injuries to Brewster, Shez and what have you. He's been playing like a defensive midfield role as well quite a lot lately. So listen, we all know what Teddy is. He's not been able to get on coach tonight because where he lives, so he drives here, and and he's just committed. He's what every non-league manager wants. He just never lets you down wherever he plays. But yeah, it's been a good night in terms of just getting that. We needed something tonight because there's been a few people with their heads down in there. It's been like we said, it's been a tough couple of weeks, but we need to kick on now and stop making excuses.
In a ground, 1,800 partisan fans, how much for you as a manager does it give you to take a point away from here, especially when we saw you taking a little bit of stick down there from the home team fans? How much pride does that give you as a manager?
Of course it does. I mean, they work too much stick. They're a decent bunch up here. They know the football. They like the football, and you know, we wish them well. I think you give up a lot of your time to coach and play and manage at this level, and when you come, it's people's day out up here. Like, you know, let's not make no bones about that. It's what the lads have had their half days off work for, and it probably gives them that extra kick. But it's about going backing that up now and just going enjoying playing football again.
You mentioned backing it up. Robin's back in action at Hurst Cross on Saturday against joint leaders Buxton. It's going to be another tough game.
It is, but they're the games we love. You look at our track record since I've come in, the big games we've done really well. It's been the games where you probably think go and take it to them, or the games you expect to win where we've faltered. And listen, we'll be well up for Saturday. There's absolutely no question. We've got Brewster will be back Saturday, Sam Bird's now fit, we've got a full healthy fit squad. People are going to miss out on the squad, and already in there the lads can't wait to get on the pitch Saturday. And like you say, it's going to be an headache for us selecting a team, because for once we've got a full healthy fit squad. So listen, it's time to kick on. There's been enough excuses here now. Want to go and get points, want to climb that table, and we want just to have a good year.
Well, that was Ashton boss Michael Clegg detailing his happiness on gaining a point at South Shields on Tuesday. And across the borough, Stalybridge Celtic were beaten again, this time in a 2-0 defeat to Basford United. As disappointing as the result was, manager Simon Howard thought his side were the better team and questioned the officiating on the night. This is what he had to say to Taron Darmrate following the loss.
We were excellent today, much the better team. They were good for 20 minutes, scored a wonderful goal, and that touches what you get when you buy players, I guess, which they just brought that lad. He brought it down, put a great ball in, they scored. And then they've got a soft penalty at the start of the second half, otherwise they've done nothing, and we've dominated. But the pleasing thing was we weren't dominating and huffing and puffing. We created lots of good chances, keeper made a few saves, and I've seen loads of performances like that in my 25-26 years of football, and I know you're just about to turn the corner, and we have to stay positive with that, because I really do believe we are about to turn the corner. I thought we were excellent. In terms of the officiating, I'm not one to moan usually. You know, you've covered me for a few years, but this year they've been horrendous. You know, we've had 8 games, I think, and we've probably had 5 or 6 really bad ones, which is disappointing. You get the odd one, don't go your way, but at the moment the standard is really, really poor.
It sort of baffles, I think, all of us sat in this stand when something's 2 yards in front of the assistant referee, such as, you know, for the second goal, they kick the ball, it deflects off their own player, it's not a throw-in, and then obviously back is sort of wiped out inside the penalty area.
Yeah, I mean, they've kicked the ball clearly their own player. It's gone out for our throw-in on the far side. It's not gone. The linesman says, "What do you want me to do?" I said, "Well, let him know that that's the case." I said, "If they score now, what happens? They're going to get a soft penalty." It doesn't look a penalty. We'll have to look at the video, but it looks very, very soft as well. And then the one for Scott that should be a penalty for us is just, you can't catch your breath, can you really? He's about 5 yards inside the box. The linesman's seen it. So even if you give the benefit of the doubt to the referee, who should have seen it, it's a penalty. But I feel like things go against you a little bit like that at times, and it feels that way a little bit. But like I said, I've been in so many teams playing and managing and coaching, and those performances are going to suddenly start getting you wins and a good run going, and I really believe we're not far away from going on a good run.
Like you said, we faced a team today, probably another big spending team, limited them to very, very little. I think up until the last 5 minutes they'd had 2 shots and they scored both.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily about money, but we haven't played a team yet that spends less than us, so you know what I mean, that's what we're up against every week, and that's the challenge of this league, not for us but for all the ones that don't have much of a budget. So we're trying to do the best we can, but we were much the better team. We've still got 4 or 5 out injured, you know, and people have to remember that. And
they were both impressive today. I know Jake came off the bench, but he looks dangerous, he looks creative and sort of a technical player. Yeah,
we've been looking for a target man, a 9, and Kieran's come in and give us a bit more physicality. He's a good voice and character as well, and Jake came off the bench today. We were just seeing whether he could back games up a little bit, but he came on and he was bright, and we were really good. But it's the first time we've been able to put a couple of strikers on the pitch. You know, Saturday we had 2 wingers playing up front, essentially, in Scott and Jay. We had 5 or 6 out, and we were hoping Saturday we could just get through the game and move forward, because we know what we're trying to build. And we had 6 out Saturday, but it wasn't good enough. Nowhere near good enough, and we know that. But tonight it was. And you know, we've still got Shentz out, the 17-year-old in net, with Shentz, Brogan, Callum Harris, Charlie Doyle. Killer's not really fit, even though he's on the bench. He's not kicked the ball yet. So there's all sorts of things to be positive about. And that performance was, for me, and I might be wrong, and I might have to eat some humble pie, but that performance was, in my experience, one that's just about to turn a corner.
on Saturday. Obviously, another difficult game. We have to just, like you say, keep positive, keep going, and things will turn for us.
Yeah, they're all tough games, and we've had a tough start, on paper, but they are all tough games. But if we keep playing like that, we'll be okay, and things will start to go for us. The penalty decision and the ball dropping for someone to tap it in, and things that keepers are saving and not dropping, they'll go our way. If you keep playing like that, it'll turn for you. And the things that have gone against us are kind of what happens when you're having a little bit of a dip. But we beat Ashton last Monday. It's not like we haven't won. We've had a couple of wins, and we're pleased. And tonight was good. And I have to mention the fans. That's the first time I've ever seen Stadium Celtic fans do that. But the difference to the lads it made coming down the hill was enormous. If they could do that every week, this place will start to create an atmosphere and make it difficult for teams to come. It's too easy at the moment for teams to come here and just play, and it's a nice venue, etc., etc. And we don't make enough noise, and we don't get. We have to perform as well on the pitch, but I think everyone at the club has to take accountability. We're trying to be better, we're working hard as staff, as players. If the fans can do that, it makes a big difference. So I'd like to thank them for that, and hopefully we can keep getting that home and away.
Stalybridge Celtic manager Simon Howarth there giving an honest opinion of his side's defeat to Basford United on Tuesday. Well, elsewhere, in the NPL West, Mosley continued their fine form and beat Newcastle Town 2-1, but Glossop North End fell to a 2-1 defeat at Marine. So just a quick look at this weekend's fixtures. In the National League North, Curzon Ashton make the trip to Gloucester City. In the NPL Premier, Hyde United host South Shields, Stalybridge Celtic journey to Matlock Town. And in the NPL West, Glossop host Widnes and Mosley entertain Kendal Town. Well, it's the final round of Greater Manchester Cricket League fixtures this weekend, with lots still to be played for on the final day. The highlights of last weekend locally were the confirmation of Denton West as champions of Premier 2 and also Mottram being promoted from Division 1. Staley must fight to retain championship status this weekend, and in Premier 2, both Glossop and Floweryfield, despite wins last weekend, know that they need a repeat to be assured of retaining that placing for 2022. Well, that's it from me this week, but I'm going to hand over to Katie Catherall now, who's been speaking to Paralympian Ben Watson and a GB ice hockey player.
Thanks for that, Mark. So in other sporting news, Ben Watson has impressed fans across the borough after becoming double Paralympic champion in Tokyo. The 32-year-old returned home with 2 gold medals after storming through both the men's time trial and road race events. His debut games has been a huge success and one which is set to continue. He has now returned to his home in Glossop, during which he has been treated to plenty of free cakes and drinks. I spoke to Ben about his experience in Tokyo, his plans since returning home, and his future in the sport.
I went out to Tokyo with the hope of winning a medal and sort of came back with 2 golds, so yeah, mine was pretty much blown really. The actual event itself was really well run, but it was also quite restrictive, so we were limited to our hotel. Luckily we've got a really good sort of team atmosphere, so we ended up just sort of socialising within our bubble, so within our team, so that helped encourage people. But yeah, overall it's been pretty amazing really. It's mind's blown. It's a bit surreal. I still really can't put it into words. One point in the future I might be able to, but I just cannot quantify it at the moment. I've never actually won a world level time trial. I've had World Cup, World Champs. I've got a couple of seconds, quite a lot of thirds, but yeah, I'd never won anything. I knew the course suited me, and I knew I was going well, and I'd hoped to medal. Like I got out there to medal, but yeah, to actually come across the line and realise I'd won, yeah, it was pretty amazing. Like, yeah, I wouldn't. You always dream for it, but I think that's about as far as it went. Like, I knew I had a chance, but I didn't think I'd pull it off. Oh, the second one was like the road. I love the road race. The road race is. I don't know if I like the road race more than TT. I love the TT, but the road race is different as well. Like, the idea, my coach and I chatted about the idea of like crossing the finish line solo, as I did, and we just laughed about it and said, "Oh, it could happen." And when it did, I think you saw like the outpouring of emotion was pretty big. Like the fact to then go and double up, do the road double of TT and road race. But yeah, I don't think any male bike for GB has ever won the road double. Obviously Sarah has repeatedly on the women's side, but on the men's side I think I'm the first person to do it. So yeah, it was amazing. Team effort as well with the boys, with Finn and Jacko. But yeah, actually crossing the line was awesome, yeah. In the end, we ended up winning 24 medals, so 10 gold, 11 silver and 3 bronze for 14 bikes. So yeah, pretty crazy really. Like, I think everybody could have multi-medaled, which makes it even more outstanding, the fact that people who haven't just focused on one event, have actually done multiple events and then multi-medaled. So that's even more. So yeah, the fact that everyone's medal is brilliant. I don't think that's been done before. I think it might have been done in Beijing, but the standard has gone up so much since then. Like all the categories are a lot deeper. Like everybody's now a world-class athlete, so to actually for everybody to win a medal is just outstanding. I went to see some of my mates yesterday they were out riding, so I met them at a pub for a pint. I've been into town, been to see some friends, auntie and uncle, my housemates. Yeah, over the moon. Yeah, the amount of messages of congratulations, and I've got I'm still going back to them. So it's been pretty crazy. Just the fact that I think people are happy, are inspired. They've seen the work that I've put in, and the support I've got from these guys has always been amazing as well. So it's nice to actually be able to pay that back and actually see how much this means to these guys. Quite a bit of free cake and beer and cheese so far, so that's if that's what we get out of it, that's good. But yeah, everyone's really stoked. I think it's been quite a good community thing, especially the last sort of 18 months we've had with the old pandemic. It's just a good positive news story that everybody can get behind. The amount of support's been great. I was walking down the street and people said, "Oh, well done, great riding, we're inspired," and hearing that's amazing. I didn't think it'd have that much of an effect, but the fact it does is awesome. Everybody from like little kids, so I bumped into my friends who have little children, like 2 or 3, and they were really, really excited. I gave one of the young lads my medal, and apparently didn't stop talking about it for about 3 days. So that in itself is incredibly cool. So for me now, it's just time off. Next race for me will probably be a World Cup in Belgium in May. So yeah, quite a bit of time to go until that. But we'll be back into full training probably in a couple of weeks, which I'm really looking forward to. Fundamentally, I just enjoy riding my bike. I don't find training hard, especially the training we're going to do, which is lots and lots of volume miles again. I just enjoy doing with my friends. And yeah, Paris. I'm going to have to go to Paris. I've got some titles to defend, haven't I? So aim for Paris, and then don't know. We'll see what goes after that. Potentially LA. But I'm not making any promises just yet.
That was Paralympic champion Ben Watson on his incredible experience at the Tokyo Games and how he planned on spending his well-deserved rest period. Sarah Hutchinson is set to make an impression on the ice after being selected for the Team GB women's ice hockey squad. The team are set to face qualifying stages in October, which will see them one step closer to the Winter Olympic Games in February. The 27-year-old from Ardenshire has played ice hockey since childhood and is now set to make history on the Team GB squad. I spoke to her about her history in the sport, her excitement ahead of the qualifying round, and her dedicated training regime.
Well, I was about 3 years old when I learned to skate, and then I started playing at around 7. I wasn't very good when I started. It took me a long time to get good. As obviously ice hockey in this country is quite a minority sport, I would say. It's not the most popular. So then adding a girl playing that, it was even less popular. So it took a while really for me to develop, and I think to get the attention that I needed. I was about 14 years old when a coach sort of invested some time into me, and sort of that's when I really started to get into it and believe that I could do something with this, because previously I'd just been like, oh, you skate up and down the boards and you'll be all right, you'll get on a few times in the game. So yeah, it wasn't really a focus for some coaches when I was younger, but it's nice to see that's all changed now. We've got under 16s, girls, leagues and teams, so it's great to see the sports develop from when I was first starting out a long, long time ago now, given that I'm 27 now. Yeah, so it's Altrincham that I played all my junior hockey at, and then the original one closed down for a while, so I then trained and played in Bradford over near Leeds for a few years, and then when that reopened I went back to Altrincham to play boys hockey. I then got quite a bad injury. I broke my collarbone and needed that pinned and plated. So I stopped playing boys for a while because of the contact side and just played women's. But my closest women's team was over in Hull. So it's a good 100 miles away. So I used to train there on a Tuesday night, I think it was. And then we'd go and play games as well. And that league it's mainly southern based. So my teams that I play are Bracknell, Guildford, Slough, Streatham, which is the centre of London. I don't know if you've ever tried to get to the centre of London in a car. It is awful. And Solihull, which is in Birmingham, which is the team I now play for women's hockey. And this season I'm playing back at Altrincham.
Is it quite an expensive sport to play as well?
I believe sort of the monthly subs now at a junior level can be anything between sort of £70 and £90. That's without factoring the expensive equipment that's needed to play, the travel as well. Yeah, I mean at the boys level it's a lot more local. So like Altrincham will play in Sheffield, Bradford, Widnes over near Liverpool. So yeah, it's a lot more local. At the boys level, the infrastructure is there. Just at the girls level, it's not quite there yet.
And how do you feel about being selected as part of the Team GB squad this year?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I was part of that programme and then I didn't make the squad, but for the 2019 I didn't get selected, and then obviously 2020 there was no World Championships or selection, so this one for 2021 it's great to be back in there. It's been a long journey back in, so life happens and things happen, doesn't it? And through a few things I ended up sort of letting my fitness slip quite significantly. So in started 2020 when we all went into lockdown, I just started working out in the garage, running around the delightful Ashton and Droylsden areas and everywhere else. And I lost 25 kilos throughout that time to date, and yeah, just been working really hard in the gym to get that fitness to where it should be. I'm 27 now, and it's probably the fittest I've ever been. So it was kind of the wake up call that I needed. Maybe not how I'd like it to have gone, but I can look back now and say that yeah, it was it was definitely a wake up call that I needed. And so getting back in this year has just made that even 10 times more rewarding, knowing how hard I've worked for it over the past 18 months to 2 years now.
And do you feel like you feel better mentally as well as physically after doing all that work and effort that you've put in?
Absolutely. I mean, when I didn't make the team, it took me a long time to sort of come to terms with it. I think I was in a bit of a denial phase at first of, I don't really want to play hockey that much anymore. I've done it for so long. Maybe it's time to look at other things. And, I just sort of, I'd never stopped playing. I just played at club levels. But yeah, then not relevant to sport as to why I sort of got fit, but I saw a picture of myself at New Year's Eve at 2019 and I was like, I need to do something. But yeah, mentally it's incredible the difference it's made. And obviously physically as well. I realised how much I actually do want to do it at the top level whilst I'm young and able to. And yeah, it's probably the hungriest I've ever been for it. Because, as you grow up, you become more experienced, don't you? And life teaches you a lot of things. So it's nice to be back doing what I love at the highest level, but with a completely different mindset and attitude to it. I used to put, and I see it in some of the younger players, the pressure you put on yourself to be so good and perfect. I used to do that, and I compare myself to people that were way above me in experience and talent, and just realising that actually just comparing yourself to you and the previous time you was on the ice is far more beneficial for your mental game and your mental well-being. So now when I'm there, it's all just about having fun. If you can get off the ice and say you've done everything and you've enjoyed it, then that's a winner for me. And it's just relieved so much internal pressure that I used to put on myself. It's incredible.
That is brilliant, that. And I believe you train Triple X in Sillybridge, is that correct?
I do, yeah.
What kind of stuff do they have you doing at the gym there? Is it like a set programme that you do?
Yeah, it's all sorts. So I first went there last August, and they started me out with Olympic weightlifting. Which never done it before. I was open to it, open to learning something new, being rubbish at something again. But I could see how that transfers into my sport, the explosive power that's needed for that. The focus as well, the mindset side of it, if you're going to fail that lift, then you're going to know about it. And so like focusing in, concentrating on your breathing, preparing yourself, it taught me a lot. And I did that probably through to around April time this year, and sort of in conjunction with that I was still doing some running and things like that. But as my hockey season started again, obviously with COVID, it's been a bit up and down as to when hockey will start, when it won't. So yeah, I think was it April that all the gyms opened again properly and sports started up, and so hockey started back up, and so we sort of sat down and said need to tailor the training more towards being ready to be on the ice. So not doing as much of the Olympic side of it, but they do have me sprinting up and down the corridors at 6 a.m. in the morning, moving some relatively lightweight for me. Obviously we've built the strength in the previous months, so now it's all about moving quick, reaction time. So we've got a lot of tennis ball work in there where I'll be facing the wall and I've got to jump round and with my eyes closed, open it, catch the ball, lots of ladder work, quick feet stuff. So yeah, it's really a variety of training that we're doing there, and they are just fantastic coaches. Obviously, Adam and Sam compete and have competed at some of the highest levels in their sport. So I think they get what it takes to stay at that level as well. And Darren and Steph so supportive and interested in what you're doing as well. You know, even if it's just, oh, how are you doing? How's it going? But they're always so willing to help and so supportive. And just it is really a bit of a gym family there. Like, it's a great community. The people there have come to learn what I'm training towards and what I'm doing. And so then, as they knew that I was trialing and things, every time I go in, they're like, "Oh, have you heard yet? How was it?" So yeah, it's been really good. And yeah, when I was able to go in and say, I've been picked for the team, everyone was so happy for me. It's been really nice. So yeah, it's a great decision to have gone there.
And you've got the games qualifiers in October. So how are the
I
team
have.
preparing ahead of that then?
So we've been having a variety of training camps, which are full days in either Sheffield or Nottingham, and we are just working on systems, getting to know who's going to play well with each other, what systems we want to be playing. It's a completely new coaching staff this year as well at GB, which is nice. So it's a brand new start for me especially, but it's really refreshing to have the coaches we've got. And the way they seem to want to play. I think players are excited about it and really enjoying it. I've lost count of how many camps we've had. We've had quite a few, and we've had a game now against another team. Well, just a men's team. We learnt a lot in that as well. We could see the good work that we're putting in. We've got a strength and conditioning person at GB that's put a program together for all the team as well. He's really cool. But, he said if you are already on a programme like I am, keep doing what you're doing. So the support network we've got in that as well is fantastic. So I think it went out on social media over the weekend. We were due to be in South Korea for the pre-Olympic. It's now in Nottingham. We don't know the full reasons. I understand it's around COVID, with South Korea making that decision to not host it. So it's still going ahead. Same dates and same timeline. But yeah, it's now in Nottingham. So hopefully it will also be broadcast as well on TV to try and get some attention into the women's game as well. I know that Free Sport covered quite a lot of the men's World Championships, but all I do know is we're now going to Nottingham and not South Korea, so a slight difference in location.
And how will it feel if you and the team do qualify for the Olympic Games in February next year?
I don't think I have words for what that would mean. That would be mind-blowing if we were able to. I think how it works is we've got this group to go through, and then if we are successful here, we've got another qualification group in November. So just to be on that journey alone is an amazing experience. To play against players from other countries that are also fighting for the same thing. We have world championships every year, which obviously dictate your world ranking. But I think going for the pre-Olympics it's a different kind of feeling, knowing what the outcome could be, to go to the Olympic Games and represent your country. I think any athlete, if they got that opportunity, would jump at it and, grab it with both hands. And I know the team we're really hyped and believing in ourselves for this. So it'll be a dream come true if it happens.
That was Sarah Hutchinson expressing her excitement around getting back on the ice. That's all for this week's Sports Talk, but for more local sports stories, head online to questmedianetwork.co.uk and find out more.